Welcome, Anick. We really appreciate you taking the time to do this interview with us today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm happy to be able to share about the organization. Thank you.
That's great. We like to start off by just acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands that we're on, as well as our ancestors who toiled without compassion or compensation, and the elders and community stalwarts whose shoulders we continue to stand on as we build and share and learn together for our collective liberation. So I just want to have you first introduce yourself to our viewers and listeners.
So yes, everybody, my name is Anick Silencieux, and I am the founder and executive director of the organization Support Black Charities.
That's great. So can you share with us what the mission and vision is for Support Black Charities?
Yes, and it has changed a little bit, but at the beginning, we were just a directory. I thought I wanted to create a structure where it would be easy for people to find organizations that are Black-led, Black-serving, and Black-focused, not only in Canada, but throughout the world. So it was to increase the visibility of Black-serving organizations. But since 2020, we kind of pivoted a little bit where we were asked different questions. So now our mission, we're not just a directory, but our mission is to see Black serving organizations become sustainable, self-sufficient, and empowered to create generational impact for years to come for the Black ecosystem. So now it's a lot more clear what we want to do, but we basically want to see organizations that, are staples in the community. There's a lot of times organizations, they have a great idea, and 2 years later they fold. So our role and our vision, our mission is to be able to help organizations by providing different services and resources to be sustainable and self-sufficient to create generational impact. That's what we need in our community.
I love that. So it's definitely necessary. So we appreciate you taking up that mantle. So can you tell us about the origin of your work and how you're disrupting multiple ecosystems here in Canada?
Yes, so I always start by saying that I am myself a product, a result of a nonprofit. So my background, my professional background, I was an engineer. I did 15 years in computer forensic data recovery. But what started my career is after school, after university, there was an organization, a nonprofit in the US that was trying to expand in Canada. And so they reached out to students that were in engineering, and then we went to different conventions in the US, and I got my first job. I moved to the US. I lived the American dream, and they started my career. So ever since then, I continued doing some outreach with them in the US while I lived there. And then when I moved back to Canada, they also were in Canada. And that organization is called National Society of Black Engineers. And so we did a lot of outreach. I did some volunteering with them, and I really liked it. And this is where I saw the power of nonprofits in the community. It's not all about gun violence, AIDS, poverty for the Black community. There's a plethora of a variety of organizations, and I started doing different volunteering in different organizations. But also growing up, my family from Haiti. Anytime there was something good or bad happening in Haiti, there was always some organizations locally in Montreal that were doing something. So growing up, we would volunteer as well. So I always had that. And in my head, I always told myself, one day I'm going to have my own nonprofit. I don't know what. I didn't know what. Is it for Haitians? Is it for women in science? I didn't know what. But when the opportunity came, when I saw that there was a need to create a structure to make it easier to find Black organizations online, then I just jumped at this chance. I actually went, I jumped in head first in the idea. Luckily, I got the URL, and then I started from then. And then I started swimming. I started learning more and more about the field. But I feel like it's a combination, because I did dabble in digital marketing before, so I was able to kind of put all that knowledge to be able to do this. So it started out well, just making a way for people to find organizations, amplifying their voices, the mission, getting to know different cultures in Brazil, Africa, the islands, rediscovering the community and being able to spread the word. There's a stigma on the community, and I wanted to focus on, I guess, the solution, to focus on the people that are doing amazing work. So why not highlight the work that they're doing and helping them along the way? So that was kind of my motivation to start this, and ever since it's been unbelievable. But that's why I created it, and that's what got me to that organization, to create it.
I love that. It's so true. As you said, there's so much more to the Black community. So again, thank you so much for taking that on. So how important, or why do you think it's so important for impact investing and philanthropic innovation in the work that you do?
I think if I take a little step back, I think when you talk about Black philanthropy, there's three pillars. There's the community, there's businesses, and there's organizations. And we often, when we talk about the Black ecosystem, we often forget about the importance of nonprofit and charities. But Black philanthropy just, it kind of creates harmony between those three pillars: the community, the businesses, and the nonprofits and or the charities. And I think it's important because it promotes harmony, community, and most importantly, it keeps the money in the family. We have a lot of other communities that are very strong because they work within themselves. So I think Black philanthropy kind of puts all of this together. Let's help our community. Let's businesses can help nonprofit, but at the same way, nonprofit can help also businesses with that corporate social responsibility. So I think that Black philanthropy kind of holds everything together and kind of generates harmonious, mutual, beneficial relationship between all the pillars of the Black ecosystem. So that's really how I see philanthropy within the Black community. It's much more than just organizations. It's everybody together helping elevate the whole community.
Absolutely. So true. So what inspires you most about your current model at SBC?
I really want to, I think we're there as a community. The Black community is there. You know, we have our billionaires, we have our judges, we have businessmen. We are at a point that we can help each other. We are at a point that we can start fostering some relationships, and nonprofits are a great way to do that. It's not so much about uh, racism all the time. It's in my blind spot. I know it's there. I'm not blind to the realities of our community, but I some organizations address it directly. Others they bridge the gap, and others just elevate. So for me, that's the part that I like. It's just it elevates the community in different ways because you have Black organizations, entrepreneurship for women, sports. There's one in Atlanta that a woman introducing Black women to golf. I mean, that's different, right? It's not, racism is a big part of what propels us to elevate our community. But then I want us to continue to really, let's bring each other up, right? And we could go so far if we just keep that model and of helping the community in that way. And nonprofits can do it in so many different ways. It's not just climate change. It's not just, again, AIDS or poverty. It's at every level of society. And so that's why I really believe in the work that nonprofits do, specifically for the Black ecosystem.
It is so very true. It's very necessary. So like you said, it's so great that they're creating those spaces. On the flip side, what challenges or barriers do you face in your work, and how are you and your team working to overcome them?
Yes, so like I said at the beginning, I went in head first. I had an idea, and I've had ideas before that I regretted not acting on them. So this one, I'm like, no, I'm getting the URL, I'm getting the website, I'm getting all of this. So I went in head first, and some of the challenges was that I had to a little bit learn. And I always say that I was an employee for 15 years, and just recently, the last year, I'm now full-time into Support Black Charities. So I was an employee for 15 years, and now I'm an entrepreneur, if you want to say, for running the nonprofit. So this was a big challenge for me, just from time management and distractions of working from home, being able to focus on something, and then I've become more resourceful. As an employee, you go to your boss. You have a question, you go to your manager. But in this work, you need to go in the community, make some phone calls, and ask questions, go out there. So that was a challenge for me at first because I didn't know where to go. But then when you start doing it and you see the response, that's one thing that I've been able to overcome. It's still a challenge. And with the team is the model that we've used is we go and get expert. So we create a lot of strategic partnership within the organization. So if there's an area that we don't know too much, then we go and do a strategic partnership with somebody that has that expertise, and then we're able to share resources and a collaboration. So that's one way that anytime we have a challenge, we look to see who in the community can really help us and what can we offer them. So that's one thing that has worked really, really well in terms of growing the organization is collaboration and asking questions and sharing resources.
Absolutely. So, do you have a key set of priorities that you're working on right now that you'd like to highlight?
Yes, we just went in August. We just started a new initiative, and we want to highlight Black Philanthropy Month. So, Black Philanthropy Month was in August. It's not that well known in Canada. It's starting to be. It's something that was started in the U.S. by this lovely lady that has her own organization called Black Philanthropy Month. And ever since I learned about it, I just thought this is it. This is why we exist. This is why Support Black Charity exists. It's for Black philanthropy to be able to promote it. So I didn't think that I was big enough before to be able to launch this program, but I think this year we have 135 organizations and on our directory in 22 countries, and we're like this. We have a good enough network to start this initiative. So the initiative is called Global Black Philanthropy Initiative, GBPI. And what it is that we want the community to be able to start donating to organizations, but not to organization, but let's just define what is the impact that you want to have in the community. And we want to use the UN SDG goals, the Sustainable Development Goals, to be able to identify that impact. So the UN came up with 17 goals from no poverty, zero hunger, good health, climate change, sustainable communities. There's 17 goals. So we kind of divided our directory into 17, these 17 categories. So every organization on our directory is categorized under one of these goals. And so what we're asking what we want to do for Black philanthropy, instead of donating to an organization, why don't you donate to a category? And so if the impact that you want to see in the Black community is reduce inequality, then when you donate to the reduce inequality category, you're equally donating to all the organizations that are listed underneath that category. So our goal is to say you donate once, but you impact many. So many because we're in 22 different countries. So it's been something that I've had this idea 4 years ago, and just this year we've been able to actually execute on it. And what I like about it is that we're not just limiting it to Black Philanthropy Month, which is August. We came up with a calendar for every month of the year. We are focusing on one or two of these SDG goals. So this month, October, it's SDG number 8 and SDG number 11. So every month it puts us in the conversation. How do these goals relate to the Black community, and what are the nonprofits doing about it? So it opens up the conversation on different topics year long. So I'm very proud of this because it keeps us, we're really bringing attention to topics, and we're putting the work of the nonprofit to different topics, and we're just raising awareness. And we have now a focus every month of the year. So every month we're bringing some information. We're raising awareness for the different organizations in our directory. And I can't wait in 2 years, 3 years from now, not only the number of organizations that keeps growing under each category, but also the amount of funds that we can raise for each one of these categories. So our other motto is no organizations left behind, and we don't win unless everybody wins. And I really, that these are some things that I believe in myself. We don't win unless everybody wins. And so to be able to really put this into one of the programs, it's really dear to me. And this is a program that we really want to push. I think it's gonna help the community to start those conversations, but also to bring attention to the organizations that are in our directory in a meaningful way.
That's great. I love that you said no Black org left behind. So I
Yes,
think that
yes.
we really appreciate that, especially startups. I think it's really
Mhm.
necessary to have, mentors and elders that have gone before who are saying, we're there right along with you to champion your work. So we really appreciate that. That's remarkable work that you're doing. How do
Thank
you
you.
feel about the future of impact investing and social finance in Canada?
I think it's great because there's so many Black organizations in Canada. I want to say, I can actually say, because I know the numbers, about at least 2,000, right? And I'll tell you that in our directory, we only have 56 out of 130 from Canada. So there's so much more that we don't know about, that we haven't gotten to yet. But I think more and more people are embracing the work that nonprofits are doing. More and more people are interested in working in nonprofits. And at the same time, there's more resources for nonprofits to start. Um, I think, and there's more programs, not only our programs, but I know so many other organizations that are helping nonprofits. It's getting to be not only a cool thing, but it's just you have an idea, you want to do something about it, you can find information to start your own nonprofit. And so impact investing, what's interesting is that now people are seeing the impact that organizations can have and they want to invest in it. But it's twofold also, because you also want organizations to be ready to receive that and the social financing and impact investing. So there's some work to do, but you build it and they will come. If you know that there's impact investing and social financing available, now it's up to us to raise the bar and be ready to be attractive to those firms and those organizations and entities that do want to do impact investing. But I think there's a shift also in the world where maybe it's 2020, maybe it's the race, the attention to racial inequality also in 2020 due to George Floyd, but people are paying more attention to the work that nonprofits are doing, and there's more funds allocated to these organizations. So I think it's bright, but also organizations have to step up to the plate. For-profit companies, we say you have to be investor ready, but for a nonprofit, I say we have to be donor ready. So donor ready means you got to show your impact. You have to have your affairs in order, because once you get this money, you get it. It's not just getting it. You have to show the impact so you can get more. But I think it's bright. We're starting to embracing ourselves in our organization, and it's about helping other organizations be donor ready so they can, when they do receive those funds, they are ready, they have the resources and the capacity to do great work with them so they can attract more.
Absolutely. So what is the ultimate goal with SBC? What does success look like for you and your colleagues?
Oh, yes. And we're big on impact measurement for our organization. And we always talk about this. So right now we have 5 programs, and it's about making sure that we have those key indicators set already so we can measure our success. So like I said, our mission is to see Black organizations sustainable, self-sufficient, and empowered for years to come. So one of our program is a business development assessment for nonprofits. So when an organization goes to that assessment, it's like any other assessment to kind of see where they are. And our goal is to move the needle. So this year, when you remember, you do the assessment and you see that you probably need some help with governance and fundraising. So every year we want to be able to redo the assessment and then measure the impact. So for us is we want to be able to see every organizations that are listed on our directory move the needle every year, right? You find out what you need to do to get to the next level, and then you're actually you move to the next point. So we have a scoring system for the assessment, and every year we are encouraging all our organizations to redo the assessment to see where their scoring is and where they have, fix some issues or challenges. And it's just to be able to see organization continue to work on themselves, to raise the bar, to continue adding to their programs, obviously earn income and discover their potential. So success for me looks like the organizations that are listed under our directory, which we call our members. We are able to help them achieve one level higher than where they were before. And we're trying to measure that every year with the scoring on the assessment tool that we have. So I'd like to see all our organization 20 years from now still being active and having different people working on it, but still being able to impact the community. We have too many organizations that start and stop after the stats say 4 to 5 years, the organizations fold. Let's see those organizations that have a good idea just be there in the community, be a staple, be an employer, right? A place where people can work and they have a building and they have employees and it's part of the community. That's what I feel like success would look like, is that more organization are viable to be there for like 20 years and up within the community.
Absolutely, so necessary. I really appreciate all of your remarks that you've been able to share with us and the work that you're doing with your team. Do you have any closing thoughts or calls to action for our community right now?
Yes, our audience is threefold. It's supporters, because we have a directory that we promote, so we want people to go on the directory. It's also organizations because we have programs to help them, and it's also businesses because we want Black businesses specifically to be involved with nonprofits or charities in different ways. But my part of I guess my closing words would be the name of the organization is a call to action. Support Black charities. And I should say that it's not just charities, it's nonprofit, grassroots, community-based. We do a vetting process to find out who we can really help, who's eligible for our help. But the call to action is to support organization, and that looks differently for different people. It could be money. If you have the funds, that's great. It could be time. It could be sharing your expertise. I'd like for people to be creative in the way they support organization, right? If you're an accountant, maybe you can help an organization 2 hours a week with their accounting. If it's not always just serving food or helping children at an event, there's skilled volunteers today that you could volunteer some of your expertise. So it's to be creative in how you want to help. And the last thing I say that's less obvious is helping on social media. We all know the algorithm. You go on Instagram and you see one post that has 50 likes and one that has 2 likes. Which one are you going to first? You're going to go see the one that has 50 likes. So by engaging with organizations online, you help the next person see that post. So it's just looking at the behavior of people, but just to engage and let people know when you really like what they're doing. Let them know, give them a like, give them a share, a comment. That goes a long way for an organization to understand that what they're doing is right, and encouragement, but it also inspires other people to see those posts. So companies pay so much for your attention. The companies pay millions to get your attention. So I would say to give attention to an organization is priceless, and it can help them along the way. So it's really how you support an organization. So I encourage everybody to take the time to look at where they are, their passion, their interest. Definitely on Support Black Charities, it's a directory, so you can just put the keyword, I don't know, Toronto sports, and all the organizations that are in Toronto in the area of sports will come up, and just see who they are, get to know them, and get involved. I think we need that a lot.
That's great. And what do organizations need to do to be listed on your directory or database?
So if you go on our website under what we do, for organizations. You will see service plans and pricing. So all our program have a free and a paid component. The free is us giving back. The paid is for our sustainability and to give a little bit more into the services. But we would encourage organizations to go to that service plan page and see what do they need, what are their needs right now. Because people have different needs. Organizations, depending on where they are in their journey, they have different needs. So if they want us to specifically feature them on social media, then that might be one of the tier paid plans. But if you want us to just mention you or bring some attention with the narrative calls for it, then that's a free plan. So we also vet organizations. I think it's important for our brand and for also to raise the bar is to have a vetting process. And it's just little things like, do you have a clear mission statement? Do you have an updated website? Or is your leadership Black or at least 50% BIPOC? Do you have a donor management system? Do you have clear programs? Do you have a clear call to action? Because sometimes you go on a website and you don't know what they do. It takes too long to find what does this organization do? So it has to be clear. So these are some of the requirements that we look for before we can list you, because we bring attention to you. So when somebody sees you on our social media and then they go to your page, if you don't have a clear call to action, then we just wasted an interaction, right? We want the call to action to continue on your site as well. So these are kind of what we look for. But for an organization, they see, depending on the different plans, what we offer, what are their needs. And then there's a little bit of a vetting process to go through based on what I just mentioned. And then we start the work. We mention you when it's relevant, where there's something happening in the world. For example, October 10th was Nigeria Independence Day, so we would feature all the Nigerian organizations on our directory. And if you choose one of the paid plans, then we would, for a whole week, we will feature your organization, your program, your leadership team. We do this on our website, in our blogs, on social media as well. So this is what an organization can do based on their current needs, to go on the page and to choose one of the plans. And yeah, when they register, we'll have a meeting with them to get to know them a little bit more. That's also part of the vetting process. But the more the merrier. We want different types of organizations to be on a directory. It's not just AIDS, gun violence, and all those things. There's so many other organizations that should be listed, because we want people to be able to support these organizations as well. So yes.
That's great. So to find you, is it supportblackcharities.org or .ca?
That's correct. .org, .com, and .ca will go to the same. It'll all go to .org. Yes.
That's great. Well, thank you so much, Anick. We really appreciate, like I said, you taking the time to do the interview, but more than anything, the remarkable work that you're doing. Thank you so much for that.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your contribution to help us being able to spread the word. I mean, without your work, we wouldn't be able to spread it even further. So I appreciate the time and the consideration. Really, really, I really do. Thank you.
That's great. We are working together definitely to amplify the work of our community. So more hands make light work. We thank everyone who takes the time to tune in and listen and share as well. And we're definitely going places because of it. So thank you so much for creating that space. And we're just going to close off the way we started by acknowledging the original stewards of the various lands that we are on, as well as our ancestors and all those who toiled without compassion or compensation, our elders whose shoulders we continue to stand on as we grow and learn together for our collective liberation. So once again, thank you so much for being here, and thank you to our viewers and listeners.
Thank you.